Come sit on my lap. Come on. Oh, good dog. Oh, that's a lap dog. Pilot, you ready for a story today? This is the true story of two great friends. A baby hippopotamus named Owen and a tortoise named Mzee. The hippo was not always friends with the tortoise, and he wasn't always called Owen, the hippo. And Owen was not always famous. Here's how it happened. Before the baby hippo became known as Owen, he lived with his mother in a group, in a pod of hippos, about 20 others. And they fed and they wallowed in and around the Sabaki River in Kenya, which is on the east coast of Africa. When he was about 1 year old, heavy December rains flooded the river, and the racing water picked up Owen, who was not little compared to you or me, but was little compared to a hippopotamus, and swept him and his whole family down the river until the water became salty and they had been swept out into the sea. I know, it's troubling. It's a happy story though, Pilot. It turns out okay. And soon, hundreds of villagers and friends were working to rescue this baby hippopotamus. It wouldn't be easy. This hippo was only about 2 feet tall, so Pilot is taller than the hippo. But this baby hippo weighed 600 pounds, which is in fact larger than this dog. And the hippo did not like the attempts to be rescued. People would come out with nets for him, and he'd break through the nets, he'd pull off the ropes. It's not easy to rescue a 600-pound baby hippopotamus who does not really want to be rescued or understand what's happening. Finally, a brave visitor named Owen Sobian tackled the hippopotamus. Don't try this at home. And the rescuers were able to catch him. And so when the time came to choose a name, they named him Owen, after the guy who decided, bravely, though maybe foolishly, that he would tackle a hippopotamus to save him. Wrapped up in a net, Owen was put in the back of a pickup and brought to a shady spot. People weren't really sure where to take a baby hippopotamus, so they called a wildlife sanctuary near the city of Mombasa. And Dr. Paula Kahumbo, a manager, immediately offered Owen a place to live. And she explained he couldn't be returned to the wild because he was still a baby. He hadn't learned how to fend for himself yet. And he would never be welcomed into another hippopod. Hippopods, not like church, not like this church. Very territorial, don't like newcomers. So they'd take good care of him. They picked him up and they brought him to the park. And they started to think about how they were going to care for this little baby gigantic hippo, where a large enclosure was prepared for him. Part of the park that had a pond and a mud wallow and tall trees and brush. These are all the things that hippos really, really like. And had a giant Aldabra tortoise named Mzee. Mzee. This is Mzee the tortoise. This is a very, very large tortoise. In fact, all the animals in our story today are larger than Pilot, which is sort of a rare thing as animals go. Mzee, whose name means wise old man in Swahili, was 130 years old. He wasn't very friendly, except to Stephen, his keeper. Stephen would come and tickle Mzee's nose, and this is the only person that Mzee really liked. Again, I do not recommend tickling tortoise faces. When they got there, Owen was weak and exhausted, and Owen scrambled from the truck directly straight over to Mzee, resting in the corner, and lay down next to him, snuggled right up to a tortoise. This is not a thing that happens. In the wild, tortoises and hippos are not like great friends who often cuddle up together. But over the next few days, wherever Mzee would go, the little hippo would go too. This, incidentally, gives you a sense of how absolutely gigantic that tortoise is. That is a 600-pound baby hippopotamus next to it. They got worried because he wasn't eating very much, but as Mzee went, the tortoise would go too. And Owen would eat next to Mzee. The weeks went on and they spent lots and lots of time together. They would swim together. And they would hang out together and visit together. These two creatures became friends. And Owen would nuzzle under Mzee's neck the same way that his keeper would. A sense of trust grew. Now, wildlife experts were puzzled then and are still puzzled now about why a baby hippopotamus and a giant tortoise became good friends in this way. They'd never heard of a mammal and a reptile hanging out together and forming a bond. Owen had suffered a great loss. He had lost his family. He had lost his whole pod of hippos. But with the help of humans who helped him out, with the help of an unlikely friend, Mzee and Owen together did really well. Hey, Pilot, come here. Pilot. Friends come in lots of shapes and sizes. Friends can be unexpected. Friends can be big, goofy animals like this one. Friends can save your life, literally. And friends can be the ones who just help you out when things are hard. When Owen was washed out to sea, he couldn't get back on his own. It took a whole lot of people to pitch in and help him out. When Owen got to the wildlife sanctuary, it took people helping him out. And when Owen wouldn't eat, it took Mzee showing him how, companioning him, eating the fruits and veggies right next to him. Owen couldn't have made it on his own. And the truth is, none of us can. We need each other. We need each other for warmth. We need each other for laughs. We need each other for life. This community that we've created, this church community that you've invested yourself in, whether we're in person or whether we're meeting virtually, we're a community of relationships. We're a community of friendships. We're a community of connection. Just like Owen and Mzee, some of them unlikely, but all of them real, lasting, and giving life. Right?